Let's take a look at recruitment practices. The first stage in any HR program is recruiting, closely followed by selection. Strategic recruiting has become a cornerstone for many organizations, in which recruiting practices are developed in alignment with long term strategic goals. The best recruiting system attracts candidates that know about the job and the organization. These candidates are likely to have a better fit between their skills and job requirements, and to be more satisfied with the jobs that they take. The most effective recruiters, internal or external, are well informed about the job, are efficient in communicating with potential recruits, and treat recruits with consideration and with respect. Recruiters use a wide variety of online tools, including job boards and social media, to bring in applications. One of the most important HR functions is hiring the right people. When companies hire the right people, they increase their human capital resources. Human capital resources are the capabilities available to an organization through its employees. The resources include specialized skills, collective knowledge, abilities, and other resources available through an organization's workforce. Identifying the top candidates is the objective of the selection process, which matches individual characteristics with the requirements of the job. When management fails to get a proper match, employee performance and satisfaction suffer. With more applications than ever before coming in, it's paramount to ensure that your organization has an effective method for identifying the most qualified applicants. Having decided to apply for a job, applicants go through several stages during which they can be rejected at any time. Application forms and resumes are initial selection devices. Background checks are either an initial selection device or a contingent selection device, depending on when the organization screens candidates. By itself, the information submitted on an application form is not a very useful predictor of performance. However, it can be a good initial screen. More than 80% of employees conduct reference checks on applicants at some point in the hiring process. Most employers want reference information, but few will give it out for the fear of being sued. Training and development programs are usually in the purview of HR departments. Training can include anything from teaching employees basic reading skills, improving executive leadership, helping employees become more accepting of diversity, and increasing work-life balance. Most training is directed at upgrading and improving an employee's technical skills, which is increasingly important for two reasons: new technology and new structural designs in organizations. Problem-solving training for managers and other employees can include activities to sharpen their logic, reasoning, and problem-defining skills, as well as their ability to assess causation, develop and analyze alternatives, and select solutions. Some employees have excellent interpersonal abilities, but others require training to improve listening, communicating, and team-building skills. As HR managers have become increasingly aware of the effects of social behavior in the workplace, they've paid more attention to the problems of incivility, bullying, and abusive supervision in organizations. It's common for employees to receive ethics and values guidance incorporated into new employee orientations, in ongoing development programs, or as periodic reinforcements of ethical principles. Overall, most studies have shown that investments in training can indeed have positive effects. Performance evaluations help managers make human resource decisions about employees. Evaluations identify training and development needs. They also provide feedback to employees on how the organization views their performance and are often the basis for reward allocations, including merit pay increases. The criteria that management chooses to evaluate has a major influence on what employees do. The three most popular sets of criteria are individual task outcomes, behaviors, and traits. If ends count rather than means, management should evaluate on outcomes such as quantity produced, overall sales volumes, or number of new accounts. Having a good attitude, being dependable, or staying busy can be desirable in the workplace, but it's important to remember that these traits may not be highly correlated with positive task outcomes. By tradition, the task of evaluating employee performance has fallen to managers because they're held responsible for outcomes, but others may do the job better, particularly with the help of HR departments. Peers and even subordinates are being asked to take part in the process, and employees are participating in their own evaluations. In most situations, it's highly advisable to use multiple sources of ratings. By averaging across raters, we can obtain more reliable, unbiased, and accurate performance evaluation. The performance evaluation process has the potential for bias. Evaluators can be unconsciously inflating evaluations, underestimating performance, or allowing the assessment of one characteristic to unduly influence the assessment of others. Training can produce more accurate raters. Asking for more detail encourages raters to remember more about employee performance rather than just acting on their feelings about the employee at the moment. Few activities are more unpleasant for many managers than providing performance feedback to employees. In fact, unless pressured by organization policies or controls, managers are likely to ignore this responsibility. Many managers fear confrontation when presenting negative feedback. In addition, employees tend to have an inflated assessment of their own performance. Even when managers are providing good news, employees are likely to perceive it as not good enough. Arguably, an organization's most important tasks are managing its most valuable assets, its people. HR also plays a key leadership role in nearly all facets of the workplace environment, from designing and administering benefits to conducting attitude surveys to drafting and enforcing policy. HR is on the front lines in managing adversarial employment conditions such as work life conflicts, mediation, terminations, and layoffs. It's on the scene when an employee joins and leaves, and all along the way. Researchers have been examining the effects of high performance work systems, a group of human resource practices that some organizations have been implementing. These practices can include those that enhance motivation, such as profit sharing programs and other reward systems, as well as practices that improve skills, such as training and development. Leadership by HR begins with informing employees about HR practices and explaining the implications of decisions that might be made around those practices. When a company successfully communicates how the whole HR system of practices has been developed and what function this system serves, employees feel they can control and manage what they get out of work. The role of HR is increasing in organizations worldwide.